organizing Arab Americans in the United States right after the '84 campaign, when the Arab American Institute was founded, of organizing the pro-peace loving Jewish community and the pro-peace loving Arab community and the pro-peace loving Christian community to engage the Democratic primary processes and the Republican primary processes and raise this issue to a litmus test on the question, PL, of forever wars. I know that we have about a minute before we come forward. PL, your initial thoughts on Jesse Jackson working on the domestic front to build the coalition to move the Congress of the United States and the president.
Yes, the issue is that the Republicans have the majority in the House and in the Senate, and that's the hard thing to do. But your father, God bless him, had the ability to reach across partisan lines, to reach across the aisle, and that is what is needed if we are going to stop the madness of Trump, like the madness of King George. We Americans need to organize, and we need to take courage and lessons from people like your father, great Americans, and reach across partisan lines to make sure that the war powers are not granted to Trump and his administration. And that's a very sure way of ending the war sooner rather than later.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward right here on KBLA.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
You are the architect of your own legacy, but you don't have to build it alone. I'm Lisanne Basquiat, a board-certified NLP expert and legacy healing strategist. I've built the Shaping Freedom platform to give you the exact tools you need to evolve. From my signature podcast and Lounging with Lisanne meditations to our intentional candles and journals. Stop living on autopilot. Visit shapingfreedom.com to access the teachings and tools you deserve for you and your family. Your evolution begins at shapingfreedom.com.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's cal-cruise-news.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is connecting you with services and solutions. Domestic violence and family violence is when someone in an intimate or family relationship tries to gain or maintain power and control over another through a wide range of abusive behaviors. Every single act may amount to abuse. Abuse can take on various forms: psychological and emotional, physical and economic, and sexual abuse. The Genesee Center in Incorporated is a nationally recognized nonprofit domestic violence prevention and intervention organization, housing women and children from 30 days up to 2 years through emergency and transitional shelters. The Genesee Center also provides support services like mental health counseling, life skills classes, computer training, job referrals, after-school programs for children, field trips, tutoring, and comprehensive direct legal services. If you need help or you'd like to donate or volunteer, call the Genesee Hotline, 1-800-479-7328. That's 1-800-479-7328, or visit genesee.org. Everyone has the right to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org. Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
Jesse Jackson Jr., welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest is our regular contributor, Dr. P.L. De Silva, and our semi-regular contributor, but always welcomed on our program, Dr. James Ogby. Gentlemen, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Jesse.
Dr. Zogby, the issues in the Middle East are playing out right now as we speak in the Democratic primary processes. They're also playing out in the Republican primary processes. American Israeli Political Action Committee, a number of super PACs, have lined up essentially consistent with Bibi Netanyahu's agenda in the Middle East, talking about a greater expanded Israel that includes a coalition of evangelicals here in the United States who believe that some parts of Iran are actually part of greater Israel. And that means what? Bethlehem, it means communities in the West Bank, let alone this new Gaza that doesn't include Palestinians that President Trump and Jared Kushner have been advancing, seems to suggest that a complete remaking, redefinition of the boundaries of the Middle East are exactly what Donald Trump and Netanyahu are after. Dr. Zogby, your initial thoughts.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador to Israel, recently made comments to that effect, seeing Israel taking land and thinking it would be a good idea for them to extend beyond their borders into the broader region. That sends some shockwaves, not only in the Middle East, but also, I think, among policymakers here in the U.S. who aren't usually very brave, but they actually were a little shocked. Rubio had to repudiate those remarks. But that is a mindset, and it certainly is among evangelicals who, of a certain stripe. There are other evangelicals, however. I mean, when we poll and we ask the question, born again, we get a significant number of people who are evangelical, who are born again, who do not accept that view. And even those who are evangelical on the right, there's an attrition of support for Israel among them, in particular among younger evangelicals who may be very conservative on social issues and on economic policy issues, but are now increasingly turning against Israeli policy. And the numbers may be as high as 25% of evangelicals, including mostly these younger folks who are, I want nothing to do with it. Gaza turned a lot of heads. And so Israel's numbers are lower than they've ever been. I just did an article on it compiling some of the various polls. I mean, when you get numbers like 68 saying that they're against something Israel's doing and 4% supporting it, those are worrisome numbers. And for the first time overall, Palestinians have more sympathy among American voters than Israel does. By a margin of 3-1, American voters on the Democratic side want to cut aid to Israel, want to stop weapons to Israel. This is a change, and evangelicals on the Republican side, like I said, are very much opposed to what Israel is doing. So you have this ideological view among some on the evangelical right, but it is not filtering down now to the mass base of those who are born again Christians who feel differently. And of course, in the black church, we've always had those who are evangelical and born again with a very different mindset. And one piece of good news was Reverend Freddie Haynes down in Texas winning a primary in a district that is going to be Democratic. And, you know, we're going to have a new voice in Congress. And we think that we're going to get Jesse Jackson Jr. back in Congress. And the numbers of the squad is going to grow into a battalion. That's the good news here. And so I think we're going to have a very different debate in Congress after this election, and it's good news.
Jim, what does the language sound like? In 1995, when I ran for Congress and through my tenure for 17 years in the House, it was strong language to be for Israeli security and Palestinian justice, to be for a two-state solution.
Yeah.
What is the language today that reflects the justice and the security?
I think that it's focused mostly on, because there isn't an outcome that people can understand. To say I support a two-state solution, I call it the two-state absolution. It's like, if I say that, I can get off the hook and I don't have to talk anymore. There's no two-state. I don't even know where you'd put it. But to talk about Palestinian human rights, that's something that reverberates positively with voters. To say, I don't think we should be giving military assistance that violate American law and international law, that resonates very positively. I think that we should, that there's a genocide in Gaza. Look, we have people in Congress who have accepted millions of dollars from AIPAC in just the last couple of elections, announcing that they're accusing Israel of genocide. We had Gavin Newsom, who is by no means a progressive, announcing that he thinks that Israel is an apartheid state. These guys have, licked their finger, put it up in the wind, and said, "I know what the way the wind is blowing." We've got dozens of candidates, dozens of incumbent members of Congress who have been in Israel's corner now saying it's genocide, they're apartheid. I think we ought to stop sending them foreign assistance. This is a big deal. And so I think, we're in a different place. And you're right, there's different language, and it's focused mostly not on a solution, but on, we should respect Palestinian human rights. We should not give aid that violates our rights. We should, that violates our laws and international law. And we should not be supporting the Netanyahu government. Those are things that are easy to say, accepted, that Israel's apartheid, that it's committing genocide. These are things that voters want to hear. I will not take money from AIPAC. Voters want to hear it. We're in a different place.
Dr. De Silva, we have about 2 minutes before the show ends. Your final thoughts on the bombing of Iran by the United States?
We are going to pay a price, we, the American people, and the American government, and our interests and our hegemony in the region is going to be paying a price. And this sticking to Israel, come hell or high water, is not doing us any good when you can see the carnage, the killing of the little kids, babies, the decimation of Palestinian neighborhoods. And now you can see, the daily violations of the ceasefire in Lebanon and Syria, encroachment. All of these things are not going well, especially with the peoples of the Middle East. Whatever the leadership in these countries, in these Middle Eastern countries and Gulf countries may be saying or doing, they are going to be held accountable by their people. And this is something that everybody needs to be cognizant of and take into account.
Dr. Zogby, Dr. Pio da Silva, thank you very much for being on our program today. I'm so grateful for your participation.
Thank you for the forum, Jesse.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward on KBLA.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is backing State Representative James Tallarico in his Senate run after conceding the primary. Tallarico told supporters he's proud of his campaign.
This is truly a campaign of, by, and for the people.
In a post on X, Crockett congratulated Tallarico on becoming the Democratic nominee and called for unity, saying she believes Texas is ready to turn blue. Florida has carried out another execution. Billy Kears, who was black and who was convicted of killing a police officer during a 1991 traffic stop in Fort Pierce, was executed by lethal injection on Tuesday. And California Governor Gavin Newsom says he broadly supports Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's re-election bid, despite differences on issues like homelessness and housing. Speaking with Puck News, Newsom called their working relationship collaborative and said he believes in her leadership. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Hard Rock Casino Tejon for the $500,000 Luck of the Irish BMW drawing. Drawings every Thursday in March. Hard Rock Casino Tejon, the closest casino to downtown LA. The excitement starts here at the new Hard Rock Tejon.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers won their third straight. They beat New Orleans 110-101 Tuesday night at Crypto.com. 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists for Luka Doncic. LeBron had 21 points and 7 assists. The Clippers are at home tonight against Indiana. The Pacers come to town with a 6-game losing streak and the worst record in the Eastern Conference. They were in the NBA Finals last season. The career of the all-time scoring leader in California high school boys basketball came to an end Tuesday night. Inglewood High School star Jason Crow Jr. scored 34 points in Inglewood's 84-65 loss to Damian in the Southern California Division I regional playoffs. Crow's 34 raised his final career total to 4,718 points, the highest all time for boys and girls in California high school hoops. Crow is going to Missouri in the fall. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the art of conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 15. Every one of you know this has been an extraordinary week in my life, and I'm so grateful. I have friends in the communication business, but none greater than Dr. Q. Dr. Nick Corte. Dr. Q hosts on KBLA, A More Perfect Union, and he has been sitting in for me for the last several days, and something tells me he'll be sitting in for me for a few more days and a few more shows. Dr. Q, thank you, first of all, for your willingness to give your time and double your time on KBLA Talk 1580 by covering our show for us. Dr. Q, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Well, thank you, Jesse Jackson Jr., and God bless you. God bless the entire family. It has been a great honor to attempt to fill in for you. There is no filling in for you, but there is standing in the gap for you, and I don't stand by myself. It's been an honor to do so.
Dr. Q, I appreciate that. Dr. Q, you're also our White House correspondent at KBLA, and it's been a fairly extraordinary period. The Epstein files, they're getting closer and closer to the President of the United States. The testimony of President Clinton, and First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton. The contentious nature of those discussions, of course, some of which have been leaked. But at the center of this is the possibility or the likelihood, in fact, the almost absolute certainty that what's taking place in the Middle East is a diversion from the domestic issues that confront the President of the United States. You've been talking about a lot this week. Can you bring us up to date on many of the things that you've been discussing?
Yeah, well, just a few moments ago, before we hopped on air, I was following the White House press briefing today. Lots of questions from the White House press corps around what is now day 5 of this war with Iran, this U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. Lots of questions around what the objectives are of this military action, what the objectives are, and what is the plan for what happens after. And it seems that this president and senior White House officials are drifting from response to response, not just in terms of what's available in the public domain, but also what has been shared with folks on Capitol Hill, leadership on Capitol Hill, behind closed doors. So there are a number of Senate Democrats who have come out and have said that they are deeply troubled with what they are hearing behind closed doors, and deeply troubled at the likelihood of more deployments of U.S. troops, particularly troops on the ground. We're already seeing reports of nearly 1,000 killed already. We're day 5 in to this war with Iran that we were told was going to be quick and easy. It was going to be a quick. And now I think reality is setting in, and it doesn't look like this is going to be quick at all. And if, in fact, as some folks theorize, that this is another orchestrated distraction from the Epstein files, this doesn't seem to be working with regard to that, especially given some of the testimony of former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The Epstein file fiasco is not going away, and it looks like this military action in Iran doesn't seem to be under control. So many Americans in the Gulf stuck. State Department's hotline to get support and get resources to get out of the region. That number was not working as of last night. We were told by the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt that hotline is now working. And so much instability here at home and abroad with the White House's fingerprints on it.
You know, as we prepare to close out the celebration of my father's life, and I know that you've been covering a significant amount of that, and KBLA is going to be covering it live during the services. I can't help but think in this moment that that Jesse Jackson, Dr. Q, would be very involved and very concerned about both the international implications of what's taking place, as well as the coalition necessary domestically to stop it.
Absolutely. It's no doubt in my mind. I mean, you know better than anyone the work of your father as an ambassador for peace, as someone who traveled abroad to bring Americans back, Americans who had been captured, negotiating with, leaders like Milosevic, folks where, you know, people thought at the time, there's no way Milosevic is going to negotiate with Jesse Jackson. There's no way that Reverend Jackson is going to be able to bring him home. And he did. So we need more ambassadors of peace, more now than ever. And I'm so glad that we get to reflect on that legacy and practice some radical imagination in terms of what that looks like for all of us moving forward.
I'm looking forward to that part of our discussion in the next hour. We also will be joined in the bottom of the hour by our regular Dr. Todd Yeary contributor, who is 1 foot in the courtroom and 1 foot in the church. But I'm so grateful that Dr. Q has stepped in for me over the course of the last few days during this difficult period of bereavement. And I can't think of anyone better than the White House correspondent of KBLA, because Jesse Jackson Sr. would be paying very close attention to Dr. Q's interpretation of what the White House is saying, doing, why it's doing it, and peeling back the onion of the undiscovered truths and the deception that's at stake. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More with Dr. Q and a more perfect union when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Yeah, sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week at most locations.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees or minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bankguide for details. Capital One, NA, member FDIC.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Top 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6
6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of Black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and a couple of special guest hosts for the day that we'll be announcing soon. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
So my ladies,
I'm sure you know how to work that.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
What happened?
Me, KBLA Talk 1580. Download.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show with our very special guest in this hour and regular contributor on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, Dr. Nee Quarterly Corte. Dr. Q is our White House correspondent, and I'm so honored that he's been sitting in for me since last Thursday. Doc, a lot has transpired since last Thursday. Share with me what it was like and how the show went forward on the issues that confronted us while I was away.
Well, again, Jesse Jr., it was an honor to be able to stand in the gap with you. As I mentioned before, I wasn't standing on my own. There were a number of guests that, number one, wanted to communicate their deep condolence to you and to your family. Of course, we knew Reverend Jackson differently. We knew him as a civil rights icon. We knew him as a trailblazer, but you certainly knew him. Your family knew him more intimately as dad, as husband. Folks over the years knew him as Uncle Jesse. And we appreciated hearing so many stories from folks over the years who attribute a revelation, who attribute a career decision, who attribute their entry into the fight for social and economic justice. They attribute so much of that to your father's work, to your father as a powerful demonstration of what's possible. I can't tell you how many folks on air and off air have referenced quotes and moments from his DNC convention speeches in 1984 and 1988. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention the tribute that took place right here in Los Angeles at First AME Church. Of course, it was really special that after the long day that you and your family had, that you made the time to join us via Zoom to participate in that tribute that meant so much to the folks that were gathered there, folks that Tavis Smiley and others had organized to be there. And the history that your father has here in Los Angeles. He was never a stranger. The people of LA have loved him for a long time, and that love endures. Hearing from Mayor Karen Bass talking about some of the work that Reverend Jackson and she had done in the fight against apartheid, and hearing the Honorable Maxine Waters share, what it meant to have Reverend Jackson as a mentor, what it meant to have Reverend Jackson as a confidant, how Reverend Jackson impacted her prayer life. I mean, there was nobody spared any sentimental moments. It really says something about the dearly departed when folks don't just remember them for their resume, but they remember them for the truth of who they were. The Honorable Maxine Waters, she told the story of once upon a time when Reverend Jackson came to LA and she took him to Nickerson Garden. And he was there just having a good time with the young people. And some of the young folks said, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay here with us. And he did. He slept overnight at Nickerson Gardens just to spend a little extra time with those young people. And that meant so much to them. And it still means so much to everyone today who don't always feel that our political leaders, that our civil rights leaders are as accessible to us and that are as real and authentic. And I think that's something really special about your father, is that he found a way to keep it real. He never forgot the folks who were denied or diminished, disenfranchised, disinherited. He never forgot those folks. And I think as long as we read the name Jesse Jackson Sr., we'll never forget him.
I appreciate that, Nee. Let me share with you something. During the break, I received a call during the break between our segments. Reverend Charles Jenkins called just to check on me. And Reverend Charles Jenkins is the pastor emeritus of Fellowship Baptist Church. He was in South Carolina with us, marching behind the, if you will, the caisson, my father's flag-drawn casket to the state capitol. And Reverend Sharp, who succeeded him at Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church, gave the opening prayer at that event. And when I think about both of these young preachers having succeeded Reverend Clay Evans, who gave my father his pastor's license and made him assistant pastor of the Fellowship Baptist Church, a church that he founded. And at my father's ordination was Reverend Clay Evans and the late C.L. Franklin. C.L. Franklin was Aretha Franklin's father. They ordained my father to be a Christian minister. And when I think about these young pastors now, all of whom are engaged in some form of social activism and social justice, we take it now as normal that pastors just don't preach on Sunday, that we have expectations of them when it comes to challenging Target. We have expectations of pastors and voter registration. We have expectations of speaking truth to power and not just reflecting upon 3,000-year-old biblical stories, that they make the gospel itself current. We have expectations that we can elect Freddie Haynes to the Congress of the United States and other ministers, Reverend Gray and Reverend Emmanuel Cleaver and Reverend Walter Fauntroy. These are preachers who ended up on the floor of the Congress arguing. Reverend Andrew Young, mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, but also former Congressman Reverend Andrew Young, Raphael Warnock, a minister in the United States Senate. All of this now is part of the ether of who we are as a people, because Jesse Jackson and the 6.5 decades of service also led to the transformation, if you will, the transformative nature of what we expect from preachers in the modern era. And South Carolina only confirmed for me just how great Jesse Jackson was. I'm so honored that the people of South Carolina treated him, black and white, a new South Carolina, but a new South is there. It does exist. And there are these pivotal moments, Dr. Q, that convince me that a coalition is possible, that we can't write off these red states. The Jasmine Crockett has shown us that there is possibility as a result of that election and the voters that were inspired by her candidacy and her immediate endorsement of the Democratic nominee. It shows me that we can flip these states red. And I like to think that that's a significant part of Reverend Jackson's contribution as well.
I think you're absolutely right, and it's a reminder that we all count. I mean, that's part of the rich legacy that we will continue to celebrate and uplift about Reverend Jackson, is that we all count,
I am
and that means that we have to get outside of our silos, get outside of our bubbles. Right. We need to ditch the label. Sometimes I think we cling to labels like life rafts, and it prevents us from getting in a space where we can suspend judgment long enough to be open enough to the possibility of what may take place if someone has the opportunity to re-examine their assumptions about themselves, to re-examine their assumptions about us, about our communities, about the world that we live in. I mean, it's easy to talk the talk. It's harder to walk the walk. And your father, Reverend Jackson, he took that walk. He took that walk seriously and pressed us to take that walk seriously, and now has passed the baton for us to continue that walk.
I was walking through the airport in South Carolina, bringing my father's mortal remains back to Chicago. And after I got through TSA, a gentleman walks up to me and says, "You're Jesse Jackson Jr." And he takes out a cell phone and he says, "I've been shining shoes at this airport for 10 years. And here is a picture." He shows it to me on his cell phone of Reverend Jackson sitting in his chair and he's shining his shoes. Reverend Jackson never lost the common touch.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And so many, so many public servants, so many activists, so many leaders can learn so much about the power of just, being able to engage with everyday people in a meaningful way. He never got too big for his britches. Right. And, think about it. How many people do we know? Sometimes they travel with an entourage. They get to places and they want to be roped off in areas. Right.
All that.
And don't want to be amongst the people. I think it was Dr. Cornel West who said, you can't serve the people if you don't love the people, and you can't love the people if you afraid to touch the people. Right. And, that was never your father. He was a people's person. I remember seeing him at the DNC convention in Chicago, and even before that, in 2020, being with him, speaking of South Carolina, at the South Carolina Democratic debate. I remember seeing him there and having a chance to talk with him briefly there. And just, I'm so grateful that he had the opportunity to return to South Carolina to witness that Democratic presidential debate where then candidate Joe Biden made a lot of news by pledging to put the first Black woman on the Supreme Court should he be elected president. I'm grateful that your father was able to witness that moment and was able to witness that reality, witness that pledge come to pass.
Dr. Q, I know that you won't be joining us in the next half hour, but I'm so grateful for your having stood in. I know that KBLA is going to be broadcasting my father's services this week live. We have about 2 minutes before we come forward. Your final thoughts, maybe a word of hope before we move forward.
My final thought today is a deep and abiding gratitude that we all get to reflect on this rich legacy and how we will choose to be a part of it, how we will choose to continue it. This past weekend, I had the chance to attend the NAACP Image Awards, where there was a very moving tribute to your dad. Samuel L. Jackson was a part of that, and to be in that room and to engage in the call and response, and to know and be reminded that we are somebody, and even in these dark days for our country and the world, is a gift that we must pass on, that we must do something meaningful with. And so that's what I'm taking away from the experience of talking to so many that love your father, that love you, and love your contribution to American culture and American history.
Dr. Q, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You can't do anything about it either.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. More with Dr. S. Todd Yeary when we come forward. Thank you, Dr. Q.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The White House says U.S. ground troops are not planned as Operation Epic Fury against Iran continues. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says Iran is being weakened and claims the operation ends what she calls years of appeasement.
There's many leaders in the past who like to take options off of the table without having a full understanding of how things could develop.
She also confirmed President Trump will oversee the transfer of 6 American service members killed in the mission and offered condolences to their families. The first debate in the Los Angeles mayoral race is set for March 23rd at LA Center Studios. 3 candidates have confirmed, but Black Mayor Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt have not. The primary election is June 2nd. And Gayle King has agreed to sign a deal with CBS News to remain co-host of CBS Mornings. Financial terms were not disclosed, but her future had been uncertain amid cost-cutting rumors. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Visit Hard Rock Casino Tejon for the $500,000 Luck of the Irish BMW drawing. Drawings every Thursday in March. Hard Rock Casino Tejon, the closest casino to downtown LA. The excitement starts here at the new Hard Rock Tejon.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Inglewood High School star Jason Crow Jr. ends his career as the all-time leading scorer in the history of California boys basketball. His 4,718 points will be hard to catch. Crow averaged 38 points per game as a senior. There's a pretty good list of former LA basketball stars who did not come close to Crow's achievements when they were in high school, but they made it to the NBA. Paul Pierce, who played at Inglewood High, is in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Other LA high school products who didn't have the numbers that Crow put up: James Harden, Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, Baron Davis, Marcus Johnson. There's a few others out there, but these guys are some of the LA products who made it big in the NBA. Crow is going to Missouri in the fall. If he plays well, he could be a one and done and next in line for LA products in the NBA draft. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
I believe that we will go from guttermost to uttermost. I believe that we will go from slave ship to championship. I believe that we will go from outhouse to state house to courthouse to White House. I believe.
He served alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He ran for president. He kept hope alive for millions of fellow citizens. This Friday, March 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 will carry the homegoing services of the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. live from Chicago, beginning at 8 a.m. Pacific. Join us as we say farewell to a giant, a preacher, a warrior, a man who never stopped fighting for justice. The homegoing service of Reverend Jesse Jackson. This Friday, live starting at 8 a.m. Pacific, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Don't you surrender. You hold on and hold out. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. A very special week in my life and in the life of our community and our nation. A suffering servant has been called home, and he happens to be my father. And I'd like to share with you a few vignettes about my father and some things that I can't get off of my mind at this hour. I remember one time flying with him to the state of Iowa. And while flying over the state, I was sitting on the other side of the plane when my father called me over to look out of his window. And he said, "Jesse, come, I want you to see something." And so he showed me from that vantage point, first of all, how beautiful the state was, but just how these land parchments, you knew you were flying over farm country, because from 30,000 feet, 25,000 feet, 20,000 feet, you could actually see the entirety of a person's farm or of their land. In the 80s, these probably would have been family farms and not necessarily agribusiness, but family farms run by small town family farmers. And the state itself, it's just a carpet of these patches of farms that were so beautiful. And then my dad said to me, son, when you're flying high, you miss a lot of details. That's one of the great statements and reflections that my father provided me over the course of the last 40 years of my life. When you're flying high, you miss a lot of details, not just in an airplane, but when you're an entertainer on stage and you're being ushered in and out of auditoriums and large facilities where you've been performing, or you're a basketball player and you've got these large crowds shouting at you, and then they rush you right back to the locker room and into a private area where your private car is, and you pull out and you don't have time to speak to the fans. You just flying high in your prime, and you're missing the details of the little child who happens to be at the stadium, and you're actually that child's hero. The child who's asking you to sign their basketball or to sign their gym shoes, or asking you to give them their towel or their jersey. And those athletes who've figured that out achieve another level of greatness, because even though they're flying high, they're paying attention to the details of the people whose shoulders that they stand on, the people who actually show up at the games, the people who are in the congregations of our churches. Some of our pastors, if I applied the exact same analogy, fly real high, but then they give the services for people's deaths to other pastors in the church, or the hospital visits belong to other ministries in the church, or the sick and shut in belong to certain designees in the church. Because while those pastors may have been called to preach on Sunday morning, the details of people and their suffering, the people that they're preaching to, is often overlooked. Dad said, when you're in Congress, you're flying high, but you're not paying attention to the details of communities that need fresh water and need housing, because you're the congressman, you're the senator, you're the president of the United States. You're flying high. You're in Air Force One. You get ushered to the front of all of these lines, but you're missing the details, the facts that other people are standing in long lines at the TSA counters of airports, and these are the lines you get to miss simply because you have a congressional ID. You're flying high, but you miss the details. I apply this vignette to my life in every conceivable way. And so for 2 days, I insisted that my brothers and sisters, when our father was brought before the people for the first time in a state of repose, that we would stand with him for the 10 hours each day, and we would give every single person who came to visit our father a hug, only to find out in that moment that we weren't the only people who were grieving and who were mourning. Most families don't show up until the funeral, by the way. We showed up and shook more than 22,000 hands and hugged as many people as we possibly could. People who my father's life had touched. And they were touched again because they were crying as they walked past his casket. They were grieving and they were emotional. And we shared the grief and the emotion. And I would tell people as I saw the tears running down their face, Dad would want you to be strong. He would want you to be strong. And I would break down when in the background there would be some quotes or some sermons or some speeches that he had delivered about holding your head high and you can make it and keep hope alive. I would break down even as I stood there shaking other people's hands, because I saw a lifeless body, but I saw a vibrant spirit. I heard my father's voice, and I said that man that's laying right there delivered all of that. And it was so, so powerful for me. We shared our grief together. And in that grief, we entered into a community of grieving together. And it was a beautiful thing. So my mother came up with this idea that we should drive from Chicago to South Carolina, where we would honor Dad in the state capitol after the governor And the state legislature made the judgment that he would be the 5th person to ever lie in state. And along the way, cars would pull over and they would get out of the way, and people would step out of their cars and take their hats off. And some fire departments would have their lights on as we drove past certain exits, honoring Jesse Jackson. I wish I could have recorded the entire trip. But one of the more amazing moments after 21 hours of driving was when we got to the state of South Carolina. The state troopers, recognizing and welcoming their favorite son to the state, got out of their cars and began cleaning the windshields of his hearse, of where his body was laying at the hour that we were passing through their state. And then they delivered Reverend comfortably to the Levy Funeral Home. He had been in the custody of the Leak Funeral Home here in the city of Chicago, but delivered to the Levy Funeral Home, and the Leaks remained with us and with him 24 hours a day until his safe return to the Leak Funeral Home in Chicago for the remaining of Reverend's official services on Friday and Saturday. I know that Tavis Smiley will be with us. I know that KBLA will be with us, but it isn't so much the end journey. It is the details of the journey along the way that make his life so extraordinary and so fascinating. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580, celebrating the life of Jesse Jackson, my dad.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave the building.
It's a total takeover.
That's what I want.
On Friday, March 27th, KBLA Talk 1580 belongs to the women.
Are you ready?
All day long, from 6 in the morning to midnight, the mic belongs to powerful, accomplished women, and we are not letting go. Nothing but the voices of women who inspire, challenge, and move us forward. It's the women of KBLA Talk 1580, sun up to sundown. I'm Dominique DePrima, and I'll anchor the day with a 3-hour live panel from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the state of Black women in LA, followed by women talking to women all day long about the issues that matter most. Our hosts for the day include Jill Monroe, Adrian Shropshire, Dr. Melina Abdullah, Angela Reddick Wright, Raquel Graham, Angelique Francis, Tasha Thomas, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, Dion Raymond, and a couple of special guest hosts for the day that we'll be announcing soon. This is Women's History Month, and we're not just celebrating it, we're amplifying it. Join us Friday, March 27th on KBLA Talk 1580, where women take over all day, all night. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 and all of our socials for the rundown. You don't want to miss a single word. And happy Women's History Month from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
To my ladies, I'll show you how to work that.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be 1,000,000 miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
My name is Tyrone Owens, and this is my home for 23 years that burned in the fire. Me and my wife, Charlene, we had this whole yard decorated every year.
This was the house that sparkled throughout the entire neighborhood on all the holidays. It's a community that will never be the same due to the negligence of a utility company. So I am pretty upset about that.
We were nowhere near being able to rebuild with our insurance. It's going to cost $1 million to put your house back up.
I want to get back to that point where we were before the fire. I'm starting to get emotional, but I'll work through it. LA Fire Justice has been wonderful for us. They're just caring people. We have all faith in them.
Big ups to LA Fire Justice, who's given us hope to rebuild 100%.
Advertisement. Douglas Foster, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable, all month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. And just before the break, I was talking with our listeners, or sharing with our listeners, a vignette about flying high and missing all the details. And it's the details that matter in our ministries. It's the details that matter in our life. Yesterday, when we flew back from South Carolina, and the police officers began appreciating just how warm I believe they were greeted by our small entourage of people who were traveling with us, they would then call ahead to the next police officers who amazingly had the same expectations of kindness that we had showed to them. And at every step along the way, the police officers themselves, who might just see this as performing a job or a function, actually became part of the mourning process. It was an honor for them to be part of the process. And some of the best posts that have shown up on social media are actually official posts by the state of North Carolina's Department of Public Safety and by the state of South Carolina's law enforcement divisions. They're official posts because of the professionalism that they showed. And yesterday, The Levy Funeral Home drove us from Columbia, South Carolina to Charlotte, North Carolina, where we flew Dad back on United Airlines. And the kindness that the flight attendants and the captains and the crew showed us, they allowed us to go to the tarmac to watch our father placed onto the airline, and the number of hugs that we got from the men and women with the orange flashlights, and the men and women who pulled the planes to the gateways, to the men and women who handled the baggage, and the way in which they handled my father from Charlotte was nothing short of amazing. And the same reception, an even broader reception when we got to Chicago, where our plane was greeted by the fire department and water hoses, signifying that someone great had fallen and that an honor was being bestowed to them by the people of O'Hare Airport. They allowed us to disembark from the plane first, and then we went down to the tarmac to watch them unload Dad from the plane and place him in a cart of honor, one that is reserved for men and women who lose their lives and are returned home. And it said, "United we stand," with various emblems on it, signifying that someone official was present and honored to be present. And then hugging all of the men and women who we don't think about, because most of us, when we go to an airport, we are in a rush to get on a plane, to get our seat, to put on our seatbelt, to get our Bloody Mary. Some of us have an attitude about the seat that we're sitting in or the condition of something we don't like on the flight. But before you get on the plane, there are like these dozens of people who you never meet, who have families also, who too are largely responsible for your safety. And the opportunity to disembark my father from the plane allowed me for the first time to actually come into contact with the men and women who keep us safe. And we rely upon these men and women to make sure that our loved ones are delivered to us safely every single day. And they do it over and over and over again. And they have no idea who's on the plane, who's in first class, who's in second class, who's in last class. They have no idea. They don't care who's on the plane. But what they do know is it may very well be a family member of their own. What they do know is that we are a United States of America. What they do know is that if they don't perform their function to the highest possible standard, someone's family, due to their error, could provide a tremendous amount of grief and a tremendous loss to our nation. These are the details that when you're flying high, you miss the men and women. It must have been 0 degrees on that tarmac last night, even though the weather outside was not quite that. It sure felt like it was nearing 0 degrees when I was on that tarmac yesterday. I was chilling. And these men and women in cold weather, in hot weather, in below zero weather, they de-ice our planes. They make sure that the wings can lift our flights to the heavens and return our aircraft and our wheels with wheels and landing gear safely and return them to our families. These are the details that my father would have wanted us to pay attention to, the details of the working men and women who make our economy move forward, who make our lives better, who deliver our loved ones to us on a daily basis. Those are the kinds of details that my father told me to pay attention to. And when we're in a rush, oftentimes we miss these things. I do want to say this just before I go off the air. This is the official closing for me of the 3 weeks that I've honored the Reverend Jesse Jackson, my dad. Many thanks to all of my guests who have honored my father and my mother who took ill on this journey. My mom has a broken heart. Please keep her in your prayers. Tomorrow's conversations with Atiba and the World House will close out our memorial. Friday, KBLA will broadcast the services, of Reverend Jackson's life, live from Chicago. And on Saturday, Rainbow Push will honor him and lay him to rest. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm so grateful to KBLA for this opportunity and for those of you who've taken the time to listen. Until next time, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.